Hey everybody, welcome to R&B Reviews. I'm Rob, and my guest critic today is Andrew, aka jak3sucker. So Andrew, welcome back to the channel.
Oh, hey man, it's great. Thank you for having me again. I had a lot of fun last time.
I had fun too. Last time we reviewed the Baketball Diaries, and strangely enough, we're going to be reviewing another film about people that are on drugs.
Yeah, I know. We always seem to be doing films about that, but you know, it makes for a good review because I don't know. There's just generally a lot to talk about, and there's also, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a lot of character development in movies like this.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And Trainspotting, it's that film about a Scottish young heroin addict named Mark Renton. He's played by Ewan McGregor. And this film kind of follows him and his use of heroin as kind of like an escape for, and as well too, and it also shows him also trying to kick the habit, and it also features 4 friends who, a few of them are addicts themselves. Now, Andrew, tell me, why is this movie one of your favorites?
Oh, well, there's, oh my god, so many reasons. It's definitely one of my favorites in the sense that I loved the way that every actor just portrayed like their character with such grit and such emotion. Like when I was watching the film, I literally felt like I knew these characters. Like I felt like I really knew them, especially with like the transformation that Mark Renton goes through. Like he goes from being living in like this horrible apartment in Edinburgh, Scotland, I believe. And by the end of the movie, it's like literally like you watched a transformation of a human being. It absolutely blew my mind.
Yeah. I mean, the lead, and one thing I noticed with this film is that the lead character, Mark Renton, is kind of honest when compared to the character from the Baketball Diaries and another drug movie I recently reviewed called Requiem for a Dream, because I think here he admits that he is a bad person, that he uses heroin because he likes the feeling of using it, and it's not about the depression or wanting a quick death or anything like that. And he would rather live for the moment as opposed to planning his life or making choices.
Yeah, like I just think that Ewan McGregor in general did just a really good job as Mark Renton. I'm not sure if you knew this, but I had before actually we did this, I was doing some Wikipedia on him, and apparently that he wanted to get this role like spot on so well that he actually was considering injecting heroin, which really amazed me that like an actor would be that dedicated to put like actual addiction into order to try to get the character right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you on that. I really liked Ewan McGregor in this film. I kind of liked him here than I did in some of his most recent films, like, I don't know if you saw The Men Who Stare at Goats, but I felt like for a while he was kind of losing it, but he kind of got it back with The Ghost Rider.
No, I don't believe I have. To be perfectly honest, I think the only films that like I really knew Ewan McGregor for would have to be like, well, clearly, the Star Wars films. He was Obi-Wan. And also, he was in a film called Incendiary. I think I'm pronouncing that word right, with Michelle Williams. But once I saw Trainspotting, he had me sold. I mean, I think this is his best role to date.
Yeah, I can kind of agree with that. And this, in a way, this movie kind of reminded me of a journal because, because Renton is, he's sharing how he is feeling with the voiceover in this movie and his knowledge of heroin and when people want their final hit. Usually when they say, I'm going to have my final hit, it's usually crap or a lie. They're going back to it eventually, and the film, I notice, is not really preachy about drug abuse.
Yeah, it is, in a sense. Like, I remember, I show this film, like, saying to, like, all the viewers that are watching this, that I show this film to all of my friends because I think it's such an absolute masterpiece, and I think that everyone should see it. And I remember I would actually have to fast forward through the scenes where it got really gritty with like a heroin injection because it can really blow your mind that like that people are actually like that, and the heroin addicts are actually like that. Like, this movie is a work of fiction in itself. It really is very apt, but it also does get a lot of things right.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I was shocked by a lot of stuff in this movie myself. I mean, for example, the character by Robert Carlyle, the short-tempered and violent Begbie, he kind of reminded me from Tommy from Goodfellas, and a lot of the stuff he did was kind of shocking too. And yeah.
Yeah, I don't really know, but I would definitely agree. I don't know if you've seen any other work that the director has done. Have you?
Danny Boyle? Yeah, I've seen some of Danny Boyle's other films, like I think it was called Millions, and I recently saw him.
I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence with him because, Trainspotting was absolutely phenomenal. There was actually a film before Trainspotting that also featured Ewan McGregor called Shallow Grave that he also directed. Very good. And then now it seems that he made a movie back in 2000 with Leonardo DiCaprio called The Beach. And I don't know, I think that after he made this film, he wasn't really sure what he was going to do. And there have been rumors since Trainspotting is based off a book. And there have been rumors that he wants to direct a sequel to it, but I don't think that's going to work out too well because I just don't think this film should be messed with.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I did hear about the rumors about the Trainspotting sequel, but Ewan McGregor says he doesn't want to do it, so that's probably why it's not going to happen. I kind of like the visual metaphors for this film. Like, for example, Boyle uses, when Renton visits the worst toilet in Scotland, and when he goes in as...
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, and I also, after watching the movie, I also picked up on Scottish slang or Scottish lingo. I remember I actually caught myself referring to heroin as stag once, and a lot of my friends were like, what's stag? And I was like, oh, you haven't seen Trainspotting.
One thing I noticed, without giving anything away, the character of Tommy, in the beginning of the movie, he doesn't use drugs, he works out, he doesn't lie, and then when he starts to try drugs, I think he's the one that kind of suffers the most out of all the characters. Yeah,
he really does. Big Boy was just an absolute great character, and all of them were really good. I love the film in general, and I give it the rating that I think everybody needs to see it. But like I said, if you have a past drug addiction or anything like that, you may be a little touchy on it. But my rating is just it's an absolute must-see movie. It's reality mixed with fiction in a way that I can't even describe. How did you feel about it?
Well, I still think Requiem for a Dream is a better drug-related film. The images in that film was much more disturbing to me than Baketball Diaries or Trainspotting, but all three of them were very, very, very good films that I recommended. And a final...
Yeah, they were. Requiem for a Dream and Baketball Diaries are both very good films, but I think that, Trainspotting really captures the image of what it is to be a heroin addict. Whereas Requiem for a Dream only kind of explains it with two characters.
Yeah, perhaps you're right. I think it does explain that, especially in the house scenes. There's some disturbing images in there. And
it does a really good job in general, and I would absolutely recommend seeing this film to just anybody. I think it needs to be seen.
Yeah, I do recommend this movie too, but something I want to let the viewers know, there's two versions of the movie. There's the, apparently what happened was when they were going to release the movie in the U.S., Miramax thought that people were going to have a hard time understanding the Scottish accents in the song.
I completely agree, but I do have to go for it right now, but it was really good doing this, and I hope we can do it again.
Definitely. Okay, thank you very much for coming, Andrew, and take care now.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, bye. Okay, and that was Andrew Jak3sucker for the video. Something like I just mentioned, there's two versions of the DVD that's out. There's the American cut and then there's the uncut international cut. They're both the same movies, but the difference is in the American cut, the dialogue is redubbed, so the accents are softer and they're easier to understand. And they also trimmed a few seconds out of a scene where Mark Renton and his girlfriend Diane are having sex. They trimmed a little bit out of there, but it's basically the same movie. Both versions are out on DVD. So I recommend this movie, and depending on who you are, you might get into the movie much more than, or get into one of those versions much more than I did. I ended up watching the international cut first, and at first I had a hard time getting into it because I did have a hard time understanding it, but then I watched the American cut afterwards, and I think I got into it much more as a result. So, but either way, check out Trainspotting. So, again, thank you very much for watching, and if you have seen the movie, leave your comments, and hopefully we'll see you next time on R&B Reviews.